Hello fellow truckers and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. Doing things a little bit differently today because the best option for me is actually a relatively short load. So rather than going and picking up the load first and then starting my intro, we're going to go ahead and start now. And I'll give you guys a chance to watch me back into it. I mean, I know it's not the most interesting thing in the world. You've probably seen it a million times, but you never actually see me doing it in the game because I normally go attach to the load and start with the exterior view. So we're just going to go ahead and do it this way today because it's only 140 miles for this load, and yeah, we're just gonna do it this way today. Before we get too far in the video, I'd like to ask you to help us to reach 10,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button, hit the like video to spread the video out to more people so that they can subscribe, and then check out the other videos on the channel because we do have over 1,600 videos available, and they are organized in a nice, neat little playlist to make it easy for you to do what you want, or to be easy to find what you want. I wonder if it actually I wonder if it's actually a better use of my time, because this was the other one I was looking at, 30,000, 31,000 for that, and that one's 400 miles. This one might actually be a better use of my time. I know I get a higher per mile rate for this one, but I'm gonna more than double the actual amount that I get. I think we're actually gonna go do this one. And yeah, it's a longer drive. I have all the heaviest engines and stuff. I should be fine. I know it's a longer drive, and you know, it's less per. Oh, I got it. Oh, I think it was okay. It's not at this place. I'm curious to know why it's not at this place, because this is the oil and fuel area, oil and fuel depot here. So I don't know why it wouldn't be here. I wasn't really paying attention to that, but whatever.
Turn right.
Let's try to quickly get back over there. I think it's back over where I dropped off my last load, maybe. I'm not sure. Anyways, yeah, I know the per mile rate is a fair bit less, like $15-ish less, but at the same time, it's more miles overall. And when it comes to time management, sometimes the per mile rate isn't the best indicator of how much money you're going to make in a given period of time. So sometimes it makes sense to take a lower rate to get more money. It's like the bulk discount thing that companies do. Like, you get more money overall by selling your product at a cheaper rate because you're going to get more overall, more in the long run, or more. You're going to be able to sell more by lowering your price somewhat, doing bulk rates and stuff. So that applies kind of in this as well. I know that seems unintuitive, especially for something where there's a fixed cost for every mile that you drive, but at the same time, this is a video game. That's one part of it, and then the other part of it is just that, you know, when it comes to the amount of time it takes to actually go to a load, pick up the load, drop off the load, and then you have to go find another load. A lot of times it's better to just do a lower rate and just pick up the amount that you're doing. So I don't know if I explained that very well, but you get what I mean. We're gonna make more money in the same period of in about the same period of time doing this load. Oh, what the hell? Did I click the wrong load? I'm confused. What the hell just happened? I clicked on this. I clicked on that. I said set as GPS destination. Oh. Okay. I clicked set the nearest service rather than just continue. Okay. Oops. Okay, that was my fault. I'm gonna leave this in the video because,
right turn ahead.
You know, I'm not trying to portray myself as this perfect person that does everything right all the time.
Right.
I screw up, and I screw up a fair bit. We're gonna roll through the stop here because now I need to hurry up and pick this up so it doesn't take forever. I think we're basically just going back where we were. We were in the right spot. It's just I clicked the GPS service button instead of the continue button, and now we have to drive back up. Fortunately, it wasn't like a 30-mile drive or something like that. It's just right across town. I know I'm speeding. I'm trying to. Now I'm simulating trying to catch back up. Oops. We're actually going to do a little bit of something that people do all the time and drive down the median this way to get past traffic. That is a It's something that a lot of people do. I try not to do that
Reached your
because I think it's
destination.
ridiculous that, you know, to drive down the median trying to get around traffic for the most part. But in a video game like this, I relax my standards. All right, so yeah, all right. Here's what we're looking for. So we're gonna take this job. I thought it was gonna be here, but somehow I just pressed that wrong button, and then it took me away, and it didn't occur to me. I had a moment of like, but this is the pickup. You heard me say it. I thought this was the pickup place. This is the fuel depot here. Like, this is where I would pick up something like that. But yeah, that's what happens when you're not paying attention and you press the wrong button, and then you end up wasting time going on wild goose chases. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to go ahead and do this episode this way because the loads are relatively short today. Ideally, they're short, and then I wanted to give you guys a chance to watch a pickup. There we go. It's just that easy. You get used to backing up after a while. It just requires practice. I've gotten to the point when I'm doing this on a regular basis, I've gotten backing up to the point where I can back up through serious S curves and things like that with minimal correction, with minimal having to like pull forward to correct myself. Mostly it's because you get into the habit of thinking of it as you're driving the trailer. So you, especially if you're able to go, like, I'm not nearly as good at than I do stupid things like this. I'm not nearly as good at backing up using the mirrors. I do still struggle with that because I don't really do it that much. I almost always try to put myself in a position where I can stick my head out the window. And when you're using that particular view, you basically just treat it like you're steering the trailer. You forget about the truck for the most part, and you just steer the trailer as if you were driving it. That's kind of the way that backing up works when you're using that view. Now, theoretically, that thought process kind of works when you're using the mirrors, but that doesn't really translate the same way as sticking your head out the back and just driving the trailer that way. So if you're struggling to back up in this game, especially if you're a beginner and you're trying to figure out how to do it, the best way for me that I've found is just to stick your head out the back and then just forget about your tractor and just steer the trailer as if you were driving it, like as if it had wheels and as if it had wheels in the back and you were driving it. So like if you're looking at the back and then you steer to the left, it'll move the trailer, it'll turn the trailer to the left, and then vice versa. It'll actually do it that way if you're looking in this direction. If you're looking in the mirrors, it's a little bit different. If you're looking in the mirrors, you actually have to actually think about, hey, I need to steer the opposite way to get the trailer to go the direction I want it to go. That's a little harder to do. But yeah, if you can get yourself into a position where you can just look out the back like this, I can just steer. If I was backing up, I could just steer it to the left, and it'll turn the back of the trailer to the left.
Turn left.
Because that's just kind of the way that it works.
Turn left.
Okay, let's get ourselves. I'm trying to get back into driving properly. I was in a little bit of a hurry to try to catch back up on the time I wasted going back to that other place, but we'll try to be a little bit more. We'll try to be a little bit more realistic in our driving now. We have less than 400 miles to go, and I think it's mostly freeway miles, so ideally we should be able to get this done pretty quickly. Get ourselves on the freeway, and then once I can get to a... Oh, good. We don't even have to stop at the way station. Once we can get back up to once we can get to a straightaway, I can set the cruise control, and then it should just be mostly cruising between here and where we're going. So that turned on. We'll set it to 65 because I don't mind doing a little bit of speeding. In real life, most cops aren't going to pull you over if you're doing only 5 over the speed limit. So I feel like that's a reasonable compromise between,
Then exit right.
for how long it takes to get loads done.
Exit right.
Okay, so we're exiting right here. Slow
Keep
down
right.
a little bit. I don't want to overspeed this turn. I don't generally try to be as hyper realistic as you probably could try to be in this game. I'll go around corners too fast. I'll speed. I'll do different things because at the end of the day, we're not doing this for real, and it takes a little bit to get these loads where they're going. It takes a little time to get these loads where they're going. So I'm gonna move over here because that's an exit only. Sorry to that car that I ended up cutting off, but got to get over. We got to get over to not get forced off the freeway. Sometimes you got to do that. So yeah, hopefully, I didn't really pay attention to the route when I picked it up, but hopefully it's going to be all freeway driving. I know that's weird. Generally, I prefer to not have all freeway driving because, you know, it gets kind of boring just sitting here on the freeway for a long time. But when it's one of those things where we're kind of at a place where the distances available to us don't really lend themselves most of the time to the length of episodes that I prefer to do. So I like to do right around like 20-minute episodes. I think that's a nice decent amount of time for somebody to say, hey, yeah, I'll sit down and watch this. I mean, if I can see a 15 to 20-minute video, maybe up to 30 minutes, I'm like, that's a pretty decent video length for me. I'll sit down and watch that. So I generally try to keep my videos between, you know, 20 to 30 minutes because I'm not going to make my videos, because I either want to sit down and watch a video that's like a half hour or less, or I want to sit down and watch a video that's like really long, like a long form chat video, like a podcast or something. I don't really want to commit myself to like an hour, right? Because then you're like, well, now what am I going to do? Now I got to find something else. And I know that's kind of a meaningless distinction, but it's just kind of I think that's kind of the way that we operate. We either want to have a nice short little thing and then we can move on to something else, or we want to commit to just hanging out for an afternoon doing something. That's why we like to watch movies. Like sometimes, if you're gonna, most of us sit down and watch a TV show, and we like the fact that we can sit down and just watch a TV show for like an entire afternoon. We can binge them now. We're not stuck waiting for episodes to come out and everything. For the most part, like a whole season comes out and you're able to just kind of sit down and watch that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just weird. But I like to have a reasonably short video, not too short, but reasonably short video to just kill a little bit of time before I go find something else to do, or I want to sit down and watch like a podcast or something that's like 2 hours. I don't know. So I try to make my videos short enough that somebody would look at it and be like, yeah, I'll check this out, and you know, I'll check this out for 20 to 30 minutes. Why not? Now we did get off like the interstate. I think we're on a highway now. I wasn't really paying attention when we got off, so I just followed the GPS. I did end up reinstalling most of the mods that I had from the last time I played. So you might notice some things that are different. Obviously, the GPS is different because I installed the Waze navigation mod again. It doesn't really change that much except the voice, I think. I think the voice is a little bit different. But overall, it doesn't really change that much. I do still like it better, I think. All right, these guys are driving unnecessarily slow. Okay, there we go. So the speed limit popped up to 70, which is making them go fast, which means that I can sit here at 65, maximize my forward progress, my forward rate of speed, while also not catching up with them and having to go around them all the time. We'll see if we have to do this way station here. Pull in for the inspection. Of course we do. All right, so we'll pull in for that inspection. That's fine. Hopefully we don't run into too many more of these, because and it's always the worst when you have another truck that's already on the scale and then they're just sitting there. Hopefully he's pulling out now. I mean, he is. He's just taking his sweet time about it. All right, we get our weight done. We're gross weight of almost 100,000 pounds, so that's actually relatively heavy. Or, I don't know. I don't even want to say relatively heavy. I'm gonna say that's pretty darn heavy. I think. What's the average truckload weight for these things? I think something like 50 some odd thousand pounds. I think that's like for a standard tractor and trailer with a normal size load. I think it's only like 50 or 60,000 pounds. So when you start getting up into the 100,000 pound range, that's some serious weight. I'm actually not sure why this trailer is so heavy, because it's just a tanker. Like, the tanker, you don't usually have the tankers give you. I know we got the warning at the beginning of the beginning when we picked it up or when we chose the load, but you don't normally get that for the tankers. It's kind of weird that this ended up being like that. Is this like super extra long? I feel like it's that. I mean, I guess. Well, yeah, it has a bunch of extra wheels in the back, so maybe this is just an extra long tanker. It's got a bunch of extra weight or whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure why this load is so heavy. It does have a bunch of extra wheels in the back. What are we hauling anyways? I wasn't even really paying attention. We're just hauling diesel. We're just hauling diesel. It must just be like an extra big trailer. I'm not sure. Just extra long and has a bunch of extra weight on it. Had one of our drivers level up down there if you're paying attention to the little screen down there. So that's good. They're starting to consistently make money. So that's going to be important to building up our little empire here. If you're just joining the series and you happen to stay long enough through my babbling, we are trying to get to the point where we have one of every truck in our fleet. That's more or less what I'm trying to get to. It's the goal I have set for what we're trying to get done. Not sure what we'll do after that. And, I did end up taking a break from this game in the middle of all of this. So this was only like my third or fourth video back. We had this truck and 2 other trucks. We have all of the international trucks right now, so we just got to figure out what brand we're going to go with next and get all of their models available, or get all of their models into our fleet. Oh, thank you. So glad you waited until the last second to get out of my way so I could speed back up. Okay. So this guy seems to be doing the same thing I am. He's doing 5 over the speed limit. That's another one of the mods that I downloaded was the Sensible Traffic mod, and I would imagine that probably has more realistic driver attitudes, which means that you're probably gonna have truckers doing the same thing I'm doing, where they're trying to push the rules just a little bit. Maybe not like crazy speeding down the road, but 5 miles an hour over, why not? Why not? Some of the other mods was the realistic physics mod, so that the cab bounces around a little bit. The head. Oh, little too much. That was a little. I would really like to get away from this guy. I don't really want to sit next to him, but he is like seriously speeding. Okay. Anyways, as I was saying, the realistic physics mod, which makes the cab bounce around a little bit more, brighter headlights, so that hopefully, I try to keep this series. I try not to drive in the dark on camera because it's kind of hard for you guys to see what's going on, especially because YouTube makes darks all that much darker because of however it is that they, what's the word? Whatever the processing that they do to their videos just makes everything a lot darker when it's dark. So I try not to drive at night just to make sure that that's not a thing. But yeah, I do have the headlights so that if we do have a load that ends up being in the dark, because eventually we're going to start doing longer and longer loads. I've been saving the long distance trips as far as my level ups as the last thing, because I'm trying to minimize super long trips until we can get to the point where I can start doing trips that are going to require us to take 2 or 3 episodes to get to do them. Every once in a while we'll get one. We'll get like a 700 or 800 mile trip. All right, sorry, I got to get around this guy. Oh, oops. All right, we got to get around this guy. This guy is he won't stay in front of me or stay behind me, and I'm tired of playing tag with him. Because then I end up having to stop because he slows down, and it's really annoying. So we're going to speed quite a bit for a little while to get in front of him, because I'm getting tired of having to continually get slowed down by him, because he won't maintain his consistent speed. I'm also using a controller, so if you're seeing a bunch of twitchy driving and you're having to listen to brake sounds a lot, it's because the short throw of these sticks makes trying to be super accurate a little difficult. So I'm actually going to set it for 70 for a little while, just so we can get well ahead of him, so he'll stop bothering me, because it's really annoying to try to drive with somebody who just will not maintain a proper speed. So we'll get ourselves a little bit more distance. All right, I think that's probably enough. We'll pop it back down to 65, which is a reasonable speed, I think. And then hopefully he'll stay way back there, and I won't have to deal with him getting in front of me and slowing me down again. Like if he would just decide to speed and get out in front of me and stay out there, I'd be perfectly content to just let him go. But he just insists on being right there in front of me, and it's super frustrating. All right, so yeah, we got 190 miles left. We're at the 20-minute mark. I don't know. This might end up being a fairly long episode because there's no point in cutting it in half here. I think a lot of it, the most of the extra length on the video is at the beginning when I screwed up the pickup. So you got to pay attention to what buttons you press. You make mistakes, and sometimes things just don't work out the way you thought they would. So is he catching up with us? Doesn't look like it. I think he's more or less staying back there now. Just want to make sure when somebody becomes really annoying, you kind of start paying attention to them to try to make sure that they don't become annoying again. I think we all understand the frustration of having somebody who gets in front of you and just constantly forces you out of your comfort, the comfortable progress of what you're trying to do. Like I don't mind. I'm never trying to like race anybody, but I do want to be able to set my cruise control and just chill. And it's annoying when people get in front of you. The funny thing is that a lot of people, when they're driving, they get frustrated with you. You have your car and you have your cruise control set, and you're just trying to like go. And then somebody who doesn't have their cruise control set, and they're not really paying attention to their own speed, they don't realize that they're the ones speeding up and slowing down because you're going up a hill and they slow down, then you're going back down a hill and they speed up, and you have your cruise control set and you're going the same speed the entire time, and they don't realize that it's them that's speeding up and slowing down and speeding up and slowing. All right, out of my way. There's too many people. Yeah, I know. That's fine, I'll stay here then. You want to be a jackass about it. He was fine where he was until I turned my turn signal on, and then he decides, nope, I'm going forward now. Cool. All right. So, yeah. I've noticed that, there's a lot of people that think that they're maintaining their speed, but they're not, because... Is this guy trying to get over? He's not turning his turn signal on, so hopefully he's getting off the freeway. He didn't turn his. I would have moved. Like, even though it's a computer character, if he had turned his turn signal on to move over, I would have let him over. I try to do that in real life too. If I see somebody turn their turn signal on, I try to move over. I don't really drive that much anymore, but I try to move over to give them room, because I know it's super frustrating when you're trying to get on the freeway and nobody will let you in. Like, you guys don't have to be jerks about this. Let me over. So I try to make sure I don't do that to people either. I think one of the biggest things that that's kind of frustrating on the freeway is when you're supposed to be merging and people don't understand the concept of the zipper merge, and they get really irritated when you pull up to the front of the line. Like, no, you need to get in line. You need to get in line. It's like, no, they designed this so that everybody would come up to the merge point and merge here, not way back there. You're just wasting a bunch of road space by, trying to prevent people from doing the proper zipper merge. Stop being a jackass and let us in. It's not my fault you don't know how this stuff works. Well, we're down to 100 miles, so ideally we only have like another 5 minutes of driving. I like how we can hear that Mustang driving over there. It's like... Alright, so the speed limit overall is dropping down to 60. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that.
Keep left.
I mean, I'd like to maintain 65, but the traffic, there's no guarantee that the traffic is... I mean, I guess I have the realistic traffic mod, so I think most people are probably going to do what most people do, and that is speed a little bit. Hopefully they'll keep doing that. I don't really want to have to slow down again. I mean, I know 5 miles an hour is not a lot, but it adds up over time. It's really nice when you're driving out in western Texas and the speed limit out there is 80 miles an hour. You're just flying down the freeway. And you're watching big semi trucks. Like, you're watching these guys, like this kind of truck, flying down at 80 miles an hour, at 85 miles an hour. I think that's a little much. I think that's a little much. I mean, I don't know that I necessarily want to input. I've made it clear in the past and in other formats that I'm not a big fan of the idea of a speed limit. I think it's kind of a stupid concept.
Keep left.
The data may support that driving slower reduces fatalities, but at the same time, I don't believe in the idea of punitive measures for something that isn't directly hurting people. So driving fast in and of itself doesn't hurt anybody. It may increase the risk of a fatality if something happens, but realistically, the vast majority of those kinds of things are going to be the result of a combination of driving fast and reckless driving. Most of the time, I mean, yeah, not paying attention, I'm sure that's a fair chunk of it, but I would imagine, obviously don't have any hard data for this, but I would imagine that the speed component contributes to the fatalities, but the thing that starts that whole process is just people driving like jackasses, because people end up driving like jackasses. This is kind of the way that works. So, you know, I just don't think that speed, and we're gonna bump the speed up another 5 miles an hour because, oh, never mind, we're getting off the freeway here. I don't really think that speed, especially in modern cars, maybe 50 years ago, speed was, you know, speed made your car harder to control. And obviously going faster is going to increase the risk of somebody dying. I'm not arguing that. The part I'm arguing is that for the most part, the speed limits that we have right now, most vehicles can easily handle that, maintain serious controllability, and it's fine. I mean, obviously conditions dictate different things. Obviously the speed limit includes some expectation that, hey, you know, if conditions are what they are, but at the same time, most places expect you to drive lower than the speed limit when you're in those conditions anyway. So I'm not a big fan of the idea of a hard speed limit. It should mostly be based off of, you know, reckless driving or not reckless driving. If you want to drive 90 miles an hour down the freeway, you should be allowed to drive 90 miles an hour down the freeway. And then if you kill somebody because you were driving 90 miles an hour down the freeway, then it needs to be determined if you were driving like an idiot, which most of the time you probably were, instead of just, because you can do 90 miles an hour down the freeway and not be driving like a jackass, like weaving through traffic and all of that stuff. If there's nobody else if there's either nobody else on the road or just a few people on the road, it's relatively safe to do 90 miles an hour down the freeway. Like that's kind of my point that I'm trying to get to. Obviously, if it's heavy traffic and you're weaving in and out of traffic at high rates of speed, well, that's reckless driving, and that's a different thing. Now you're directly putting people at risk of, like, hurting them. But even then, I'm like, I don't know. At some point, you have to, regardless of how you feel about something, you kind of have to put a hard limit, or you have to have like a hard line where you set things. And for me, the rule is, I think the rule should be, until you actually harm somebody, there should be no consequences against you. And I don't think that, you know, making other people uncomfortable qualifies. So while, you know, obviously it's scary to watch somebody zipping through traffic and weaving through traffic and doing things that, you know, you might not be comfortable doing yourself. And yeah, probably putting people at risk with their behavior. I also just don't necessarily agree with the idea that, oh my God, really? So now we have to sit here and wait for this for an entire light because people don't know how to drive. That's the only thing about realistic traffic is now I have to put up with this. Yeah, that's great. But yeah, everybody's gonna have a different opinion on that particular subject. My hard line is I don't like this. One of the things about modern society I don't like is this idea that people want to control everybody else, and I'm not a fan. I really don't like it. And I think we have way too many rules in place that are meant to try to prevent bad things from happening, and it's like, I don't think that's the right approach. You can't really prevent bad things from happening. All you can try to do is make the constant, like, we've seen that people ignore rules all the time. All you can really do is just try to make the punishments for the bad things that happen severe enough to discourage the vast majority of people from doing the things that you don't want them to do. And at the same time, there needs to be a philosophy of, you know, if this isn't actually hurting anybody or seriously bothering them, then it doesn't need to be something we punish. That's my thought process. That's how I feel about it. So, all of that to say that I disagree with the concept of speed limits. In my opinion, the only reason we really even have them is it's a revenue source for the government. I think, and I know that for a lot of you, that probably gives you a category of what political side of the fence I sit on, but I'm more in the middle. I think there's a lot of people on both sides that think that. I don't think that's necessarily one political spectrum or the other. I'm surprised that we're able to do 65 down this road. As I say that, the speed limit's about to drop. Great. Come on. All right, that's fine. We'll slow down to 60 miles an hour. I did re-download the mod that gives me all the actual company signs, so that way we actually are in the right. Did the water not load on the right side, or oh, it just looks weird. The way the sun's hitting it makes it. The way the sun was hitting it made it look like it was just dirt and some like black bushes or black twigs sticking up out of it. It's weird. All right, we're almost at our destination here. Speed limit's dropping down again. I'm going to drop it down to 50. Looks like we're supposed to exit here.
Turn right, then turn left.
Okay. I also use my turn signals as camera control, so I think we went here before because I remember this lookout. I remember seeing this lookout here.
Use the right lane to stay on the current road.
I think we were here in the last episode. I didn't realize we were coming back to the same spot. It's hard to remember what episode. I also had I also had my weekend between this episode and my last recording, so it's been a couple of days. I think they need to fix the sound for this because he's not accelerating like that. He is not accelerating the way that the engine is sounding over there. It's a little ridiculous. All right. I'm actually going to take a left here to hopefully get away from some of that.
Rerouting.
I'm hoping that this is going to bypass a stop sign or a stoplight.
Then keep right.
We'll see.
Use the right lane to stay on the current road.
So
then continue straight.
We're going to end up having to go.
On the current road.
Oh wait, no. Okay. Yeah, stop there,
straight.
dude. Well, this is one of those times where I should have stayed where I was because I could have made a right turn out through this light. But like I said, the extra length of this video is mostly because I ended up having to go pick up another. I ended up having to go back and fix my pickup. Because by the time we get over there, we're going to be 6 or 7 minutes. We're going to be 6 or 7 minutes past the 30-minute mark, and that's about as much time as ended up getting added because of my not paying attention. It would be nice if this light would change, though, so that we can actually start making some progress here, because if I have to wait on this truck to make his right turn, that's going to be annoying. Okay. And we're going to have to come up here and wait for this light. Oh, good. It's nice when another car gets up there and kind of, well, I don't know how much I don't know how realistic the triggering of the lights is in this game, and I guess we're still gonna have to wait for cross traffic anyway, so I guess he didn't really help us that much. I was gonna say him getting there might have triggered the sensor to trigger the left turn, but when there's cross traffic, that doesn't really matter. I've spent a lot of time paying attention to traffic lights and learning kind of how they work and all of that. So it irritates me when people don't pay attention to the lights. Like, we have the straight across going, which means that the left turn's coming here in a second. It's always left and straight, left and straight, left and straight, left and straight. It just cycles around. Most lights do that. Most lights do it that way. So what I would normally do in real life is I'd be looking over here Oh, I can actually see it. I would normally, like, see, now I see that the light's turning yellow, so I start looking forward and paying attention and waiting for the left turn to turn green, because that's always the way that it goes for almost every light that you ever come across. And it irritates me when people are screwing around in their car and not paying attention, and then you end up having to wait for them to realize, oh, the light changed. Well, you had plenty of warning that the light was going to change, because the other light, the cross light turned left, and all you had to do was pay attention to that. But nope, I got to be on my phone. People. Oh, that's me. That was me. That was me not paying attention to the fact that this was a roundabout and not an intersection. So that one was my fault. Because I'm busy chatting. Because I'm busy talking. Yep, that's the way it goes. As soon as you do something wrong, the life comes in and says, hey, there you go. Have fun with that. Whatever. Okay, hopefully we don't get a train. One of the problems with this game is that a lot of times the train thing will sound, and then all of a sudden there'll be an invisible wall there that causes you to crash your truck. Let me get over here and hopefully not clip this guy.
Ahead.
And then we'll hop into here. I'm going to make an extra wide turn.
Turn right.
I didn't mean to slow down that hard. Why are we dropping this off here? That's weird.
You have reached your destination.
It's a weird place to drop off a tank of fuel, a tank of diesel. And we have to back it into here? I literally just came from doing this area. How much more room do I need? Let's give ourselves a little bit more turning room. Alright, and then now we just drive the trailer, right? So I'm steering right, and then I straighten it out. Then I steer it right a little bit more because I know I need to get it a little bit more lined up. But yeah, to make it go right, I'm just steering to the right. And I got to sharpen it up a little more to get it lined up. Then you go left to straighten it back out to go straight. Just don't worry too much about where your tractor is, as long as you're sure you're not going to hit anything with it. And it will automatically steer as long as you're paying more attention to where the trailer's going than where the tractor is. And that's it. We have dropped off our load, and that's it. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Be sure to click the like button to spread the video out to more people. Subscribe to the channel to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Join as a member if you'd like access to, or early access to videos, among other perks, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button. Again, thank you very much for joining us for this episode of American Truck Simulator. Be sure to come back for our next ride, and I'll see you then.